So if we want to see the interaction effects that we've got, how do we do that? So we are going to copy this. We will double click on this, and then we will copy this up to this point, copy it, go to File, New, you go to Syntax, and then you paste, and you highlight all of them, and then you run it. You run the selection. And so when we go down here, you're going to see the plot, the interaction plots that we've got here. So you can see the level of the interaction, the low level, the high, the average, the mean, and then +1 standard deviation above the mean. But you can see that the graphs are not, the interaction, the lines are not clear. But how do you put the lines? There are two ways to do that. The first way to do that is to go to back to graphs. You go to legacy dialog. You go to lines. You click multiple, and you define the lines. So you put the placement, which is our independent variable, into the axis. So you put the parental into the lines, and then you select other. If you go to the model that we have, you will see that this predicting this self-efficacy will act as an outcome. We go back here, and then we add the efficacy here, and then we run, and so that produces a clearer image for us. And if I double click here, so I can name this -1 standard deviation. Here, I can call this the mean, average level of support, and then I can call this +1 standard deviation. And if I do not want to have these lines, I can go to option and knock out the gradients, okay? And then I'll be able to have a cleaner output like this, which I can put in my output. So I'm going to pause the video a little while and then interpret the outputs carefully for you, and then you'll be able to see how I interpreted them. So the first one is that I started by explaining the analysis conducted, how it was conducted, and the model summary. And it reads, the hypotheses were tested using ProcessMacro 4.2. You need to explain the particular instrument you use for testing your hypothesis. Following the guideline by Hayes 2018, you also need to show the reference where you're drawing your strength from. The researcher selected model 7 in the option menu and applied 5,000 bootstrap samples at 95% bias corrected confidence intervals to compute the conditional direct and indirect effects. The analysis showed a statistically significant model summary. And so you can see the model summary here, F3 into this, and then this is the value. The output of the study, you will notice where you will see where I've got that. That is the model summary here. That is F35. That is the degree of freedom. The first one is 3. The second degree of freedom is 205. And then this is the F value, 24.869. So when you approximate, that gives you this value. Okay, so that is F into the degree of freedom first and second degree of freedom equal to this value, and this is the R square and then the P value. Okay, the analysis of hypothesis 1 shows that work placement learning positively influenced students' school to work transition, and this is the regression beta weights, just like I've explained in the analysis before now, indicating that hypothesis 1 was accepted. So this is how you're going to write it in your own result, and then go on to discuss the implications, what this means. So it could be that as the students engage more in work placement learning, they are most likely to engage more in school to work transition processes, such as engaging in career training, workshop, career fairs, and so on and so forth. The result of hypothesis 2 shows that work placement learning had a negative and significant influence on the students' level of self-efficacy, and so this is the results as already shown in the analysis. Hence, hypothesis 2 is partially accepted. So in this case, it's not fully accepted because even though it's statistically significant, it's negative, but we expected that it would have given us a positive influence, that engaging in work placement learning can give us can increase students' level of self-efficacy. But in this case, our study shows that it may likely not be the case, because just engaging in academic activities may not necessarily yield high level of self-efficacy. This is what the result is trying to explain to us. The result of hypothesis 3 shows that self-efficacy positively and significantly influenced the student school to work transition, and then you can see the beta weight equal to 0.40. If you look at the analysis, you will notice that it is 0.399 in the ProcessMacro result, and this is the result of the confidence interval. CI is the confidence interval bracket open and close, and then the result of the p-value. Thus, hypothesis 3 was accepted. So this is how you keep on writing out the result of your analysis before you go into discussing what the meaning we might make of this finding. Now, for the moderated results, the interaction of parental support on work placement learning on self-efficacy leading to higher levels of school to work transition, the results show that a significant test of highest order unconditional interaction was positive. You can see how I reported that. Let me take you to this. This is the result I am talking about, and you can see that the result is this is the test of highest order unconditional results, so you can see that it is statistically significant. So that is the result that I have just reported now. So the analysis showed that parental support had a statistically significant moderation effect, and this is the result of the interaction effect, okay, which is what we are interested in this study. If you go to this point, you're going to see the interaction effect, that is 0.206, and here are the lower and upper bound confidence interval and statistically significant. So this is exactly what we've reported here. The result of the simple slopes. So this is where we want to see at high level, at middle, and lower level. So one good thing about using the ProcessMacro is that it will give you an opportunity to know how the moderator variable influences the variable at 3 time points, at low, average, and high level along the moderator variable. The result of the simple slopes for the visualization of conditional direct effects at 3 points, so which is at low, that is -1 standard deviation, at the mean, which is at the average level of support, shows that at low level on self-efficacy, the effect was not positive and significant. Look at the beta slope. The beta weight for simple interaction slope, you can see that is 0.05, but the confidence interval is not statistically significant because you can see that 0 falls between the null, and you can see the p-value is equal to 0.08, which is above 0.05 significant level. But at the mean and at the mean, which is at the average level of parental support, and at high level of parental support, which is +1 standard deviation, you can see that the beta weight slopes are positive and high. So you can see at the average is 0.33, and then at high level you can see 0.61, and both confidence intervals for upper and lower band at both cases are all positive. So this gets to tell us that when parental support meets students learning in the workplace, they are more likely to engage more in in their school to work transition by increasing their higher level of their self-efficacy. The result of the simple slope for the visualization of the conditional indirect effect. So this is the moderation of the mediation effect of self-efficacy in this study. The result shows that along the moderator variable at -1 standard deviation, which is at low level of parental support, the result is not statistically significant. You can still see this plays out here. But at the average and at high, you can see that the slopes are higher, which is 0.13 and 0.24, the regression beta weights. So this gets to tell us that as parental support increases for students undertaking work placement learning, the higher they are able to increase their efforts towards school to work transition via high level of self-efficacy. So this is the visualization graph for the analysis that we've conducted. So you can see here, this is the placement learning. As placement learning interacts with parental support here, it increases the level of the student's self-efficacy towards school to work transition. So you can see that this is the green representing the higher level of parental support, that is +1 standard deviation here. And then you can see the red one, which is the mean, you can see is also increasing. That's above 6.00. But you can see the one -1 standard deviation, which is low level of parental support. You can see that there's no evidence of positive increase on the student's self-efficacy leading to school to work transition. So this is how you can perform a moderated mediation analysis using Andrew Hayes ProcessMacro. If you find this video interesting, please share the video and like the video and subscribe to my channel so that you'll be able to get notifications when I post next video. Thanks for watching.